Imagine stepping back in time, 50,000 years ago, into a land that is both familiar and terrifyingly alien. This is ancient Australia, a continent of colossal beasts, a real-life Jurassic Park. But the stars of this show aren't dinosaurs, they're giant lizards. And the terrified park visitors? They're your ancestors. Today, we're journeying into this prehistoric world to uncover one of history's most epic and untold confrontations. The clash between early modern humans and Megalania, the largest land lizard that ever lived. How did our ancestors, armed with little more than stone and wood, survive in a world dominated by a 23-foot-long venomous predator? What did these first encounters look like? This isn't just a story about giant monsters. It's a story about human courage, ingenuity, and the fight for survival that shaped our very existence. So, grab your gear, because we're about to venture into the heart of the ancient Australian outback. To truly appreciate the scale of this prehistoric showdown, let's first meet the two contenders. On one side, we have us, Homo sapiens. Our ancestors, the first people of Australia, were master innovators. They arrived on this isolated continent somewhere between 50,000 and 65,000 years ago, completing one of the earliest and most daring sea voyages in human history. They weren't just wandering nomads. They were intelligent, adaptable, and armed with a sophisticated toolkit of stone spearheads, throwing sticks, and fire. More importantly, they possessed the power of cooperation, strategy, and a deep understanding of the natural world. They were pioneers in the truest sense, stepping into an unknown land filled with dangers they had never before imagined. On the other side, the reigning champion of this ancient land, Megalania, or Varanus priscus. Now forget everything you know about lizards. Picture a Komodo dragon, then supersize it. Megalania could grow up to 23 feet long, that's longer than a large SUV, and weigh over 1,300 pounds. Its thick, armored hide was like a chainmail suit, and its serrated, blade-like teeth were designed for one thing: tearing flesh. But its most fearsome weapon was hidden. Like modern Komodo dragons, scientists believe Megalania had a venomous bite. A single nip could deliver a cocktail of toxins that induced shock, prevented blood clotting, and led to a slow, agonizing death. This wasn't just a big lizard. It was a highly efficient, mobile killing machine, the apex predator of its environment. For tens of thousands of years, Megalania ruled Australia unchallenged. And then, we showed up. The big question has always been, did they actually meet? For a long time, this was the stuff of speculation. But the science is now crystal clear. The arrival of the first Australians overlaps directly with the final chapter of Megalania's reign. We have fossil evidence of human settlement dating back 65,000 years, and the youngest known Megalania fossils date to around 50,000 years ago. One discovery in particular, a 50,000-year-old Megalania bone from a cave in South Australia, seals the deal. This is a direct chronological overlap of at least 15,000 years. For thousands of years, humans and giant lizards shared the same landscape, hunted the same prey, and drank from the same waterholes. So let's paint a picture of what this coexistence was like. Imagine a small group of early humans, perhaps a family, making their way through the bush. The air is thick with the sounds of unfamiliar birds and insects. They're tracking a giant kangaroo, or maybe foraging for roots and berries. Every shadow could be a threat. A rustle in the undergrowth isn't just a wallaby. It could be a 2,300-pound predator lying in ambush. A Megalania hunt would have been a terrifyingly patient affair. It wouldn't have chased its prey over long distances. Instead, it would use camouflage to blend into the scrubland, lying perfectly still for hours, waiting for the right moment. Its keen sense of smell could detect prey from miles away. When a group of humans passed by, it would explode from its cover with shocking speed, targeting the weakest or most isolated individual. Its primary weapon was that devastating bite. It didn't need to kill on impact. It just needed to land one good bite, injecting its venom. After that, it was a waiting game. The lizard would simply follow its wounded victim from a safe distance, waiting for the toxins and blood loss to do their work. For early humans, a Megalania encounter was a life-or-death crisis. So how could our ancestors possibly survive against such a formidable foe? They couldn't outrun it in a short burst, and they certainly couldn't overpower it. The key was their greatest asset, their brain. Survival depended on outsmarting the monster. First and foremost was avoidance. Early humans would have quickly learned to read the signs of a Megalania's presence, its massive tracks, its scent, the panicked reactions of other animals. They would have known which areas to avoid, especially dense scrubland and rocky outcrops where the lizards loved to ambush prey. They would have learned its patterns, its hunting times, and its behavior. Knowledge was the first line of defense. When a confrontation was unavoidable, their strategy would have shifted to a coordinated defense. A lone human was a target. A group of humans was a force to be reckoned with. Imagine the scene. A Megalania charges the group. Instantly, the hunters form a defensive circle, brandishing their spears. They would yell, make loud noises, and perhaps use fire, the one thing most animals instinctively fear, to intimidate the beast. They wouldn't aim to kill it outright in a head-on battle. That was too risky. The goal was to make themselves appear more dangerous and troublesome than they were worth. They needed to convince the lizard that they were not easy prey. Using their throwing spears or atlatls, they could strike from a distance, aiming for vulnerable spots like the eyes or the soft underbelly. It was a battle of wits and courage, a testament to the power of human cooperation. Could humans have hunted Megalania? It's a tantalizing question. While direct evidence of humans butchering a Megalania is yet to be found, it's highly probable. For a people living on the edge, a 2,300-pound lizard represented an enormous source of food and resources. A successful hunt, though incredibly dangerous, could feed a clan for weeks. The hide could be used for shelter or armor, and the large bones for tools. Such a hunt would have been a monumental undertaking, requiring meticulous planning, teamwork, and immense bravery. It wouldn't have been a casual affair. It would have been a legendary event, a story told around the campfire for generations. They might have used traps, like deep pits dug along game trails, or driven the giant lizard off a cliff. Or they may have used their knowledge of its venom against it, goading it into biting a large animal and then stealing the carcass after the lizard had done the hard work. This leads us to the ultimate mystery: what happened to Megalania? Around 50,000 years ago, this apex predator, which had dominated Australia for over 1 million years, vanished from the fossil record. Its extinction coincides perfectly with the arrival of humans. Is it just a coincidence? Many scientists don't think so. The human-driven extinction hypothesis suggests we were the primary cause. This doesn't necessarily mean our ancestors hunted every last Megalania to extinction. The impact was likely more complex. First, humans were competition. We hunted the same large animals that Megalania relied on, like the giant wombat-like Diprotodon. As humans became more efficient hunters, the food supply for Megalania dwindled. Second, humans altered the landscape with fire. Firestick farming, the practice of deliberately burning vegetation to promote new growth and flush out game, fundamentally changed the ecosystem. This destroyed the dense cover that ambush predators like Megalania relied on to hunt effectively. A third, more direct factor could have been the hunting of Megalania's young. While tackling a full-grown adult was a monumental task, hunting smaller juvenile lizards or raiding their nests for eggs would have been a much safer and more efficient way to get a protein-rich meal, while simultaneously disrupting the lizard's life cycle. Over thousands of years, this combination of direct predation, competition for food, and habitat destruction created a perfect storm. The reign of the giant lizard was over, and the age of humans had begun. The story of our encounter with Megalania is more than just a thrilling tale of survival. It's a profound reminder of the power our species wields. Even 50,000 years ago, with the simplest of tools, our ancestors were capable of reshaping entire ecosystems and driving the planet's largest predators to extinction. This ancient encounter serves as a powerful, humbling lesson from our deep past. It's written in the bones of the earth and echoes in the stories of the first people, a testament to a time when humans stood face to face with monsters and won. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey back in time. What do you think? Could you have survived in ancient Australia? Let me know your survival strategy in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into prehistory, Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into the unknown. We'll see you on the next one.